Hey guys, Sleepy Reader here. Just still talking about comic books. I'm gonna talk about Punk Rock Jesus and Fantastic Four Annual, and then I'm gonna also talk about some comics I picked up that might be a little bit older, things I was trying out that are a little bit out of my normal zone because other people's reviews made them sound good, which was Venom, Punisher, and I, Vampire. So anyway, Punk Rock Jesus. This is like an amazing comic book. First looking at the cover, kind of a generic old punk rock image, although a hint of an upside down cross there. Could be a poster for the Clash or the Damned or some LA punk rock group of the 80s, I suppose, early 80s. It's just very familiar looking. I wasn't too excited, but I picked it up. I have a little bit of excitement at the word punk rock still, and it was a Vertigo, and it was #1. But immediately blown away by the art. And I probably should know who this guy is. Sean Murphy, who did both all the art and all the script. I feel like I've heard that name somewhere, but I just can't remember where. But this is just amazing, amazing black and white art. And it just continues throughout. Where I think this is like 30 pages long. Just evokes all kinds of great art of the past, but doesn't copy one artist or anything. Just a very rich comic book art experience. And he doesn't all throughout all 30 pages, he never strikes a false note artistically. Never stumbles. And I always know what's going on. Maybe that's like one of the worst pictures in the book, but in general, it's just amazing how good and how much detail there is throughout. You don't need color at all. The black and white art's so good. He does use Zipatone, for those of you who remember that. Those little dots that comic book artists used to put into things because they couldn't use gray tones, to add illusion of gray tones. These little, can you see them? Probably you can't. But sometimes that can be very aesthetically pleasing, the old Zipatone. I think the certain inkers used to use it to great effect way back when. I guess I'm not showing good examples of it again. But anyway, the art in this is killer. The basic premise is that there's a reality TV show that is cloning Jesus's DNA from the not the veil, the Shroud of Turin. So I guess they have the support of the Catholic Church or something like that. I that part's not 100% clear, but they're doing a reality show about the birth of Jesus. They found a virgin to volunteer to be pregnant with the baby Jesus. And they have a famous scientist who's doing the cloning and the inserting of the baby, and she's someone who's trying to save the world's, because of all the global warming and stuff. She has her own genetic experiments that this will fund to make her able to save the world, possibly. And another character is this IRA, member of the IRA, I think it's the IRA, the Irish terrorists, but he's supposedly reformed and now he's the head of security on this TV show, which has a lot of security issues because of all the upset Christians and others over what they're doing. And then there's other subplots. So it's a very, very rich 30 pages. In comic books now that spread out and don't give you very much, this gives you a ton. So the cover's misleading because as of yet, there's no punk rock. There's no rock concert. There's nothing resembling this cover in it so far. And the art on the cover isn't nearly as exciting as the art inside. So I am curious to see how punk rock it's going to get, or where the punk rock element's going to come in. But this is just amazingly good. I've been saying that over and over again. So Punk Rock Jesus is excellent. And I'm not that interested in more stuff about global warming and more stuff about reality TV, but I'm worried about global warming, but I don't like reading about it all the time. And reality TV, though it still goes on, it's such a cliche, but this does it in such a way that erases all my worries about it. And another book that, until the last few pages of reading this, I thought I was going to, give this a 5-star review, is the Fantastic Four Annual, which also has a single writer artist, Alan Davis, much beloved superhero artist, taking on both the writing and the art chores for this annual. And although it is $5, $4.99, it has 40 pages of art, color, beautiful art by Alan Davis. Alan Davis is very, very, I don't know if he always was this way, but he's very Neil Adams. Even the layouts and everything remind me of Neil Adams, with maybe an occasional moment of Gene Colan. I thought of Gene Colan maybe most because this is as much a Doctor Strange story as a Fantastic Four story. It only has Johnny Storm and the Thing in it, and they get sucked into this mystical time traveling story that is very dreamlike and trippy. So you would only like this if you like things that let go of logic a little bit, and are kind of trippy. But I thought it was going to all come together at the end. And at the end, I didn't think it did come together. At the end, it didn't tell you anything. And there are characters in here that maybe some readers already know, and was that why I didn't fully understand it? Maybe see these characters here. Do other people know these from other comics and I just missed out? So maybe all this makes sense, or maybe this is part of some bigger story that's going on elsewhere that I don't know about. So I loved it until the end. Beautiful artwork, well written, other than the completely non-explained ending. So should you get it? I don't know. If you love Alan Davis artwork, if you like Doctor Strange type of stories, it's probably worth it. But that ending's awfully frustrating. So another interesting thing about it is just the way it was done. It felt a little retro, in a way that I liked, but it reminded me of what an annual might have been like back in the 80s or something, with a complete story that has no connection to any of the continuity elsewhere, or at least it seemed not to me. And having little stylistically or plot-wise connected to I repeat myself a lot. My wife complains about that. Nothing. So just that disconnection from everything else, and other aspects of it just kind of reminded me. It seemed retro, but in a good way. So another thing I've done in the past 2 weeks is I've been so into reading comic books that I'm trying to try different things. And listening to so many other people's videos, makes me curious about things that I might not have tried otherwise. So I'd heard a lot of people say good things about Venom. So I picked up an issue of Venom. It's kind of plunging in the middle. You can see it's Savage 6 Part 2. I think I followed everything. Flash Thompson has moved on from the days I knew him, but he is now a version of Venom that works for the government, but kind of is also a superhero with a secret identity. And I guess he's in a relationship with Betty, and has just revealed to her his secret identity as this group the Secret Six of villains is moving in on him. I guess basically killing everyone, torturing and killing everyone he knows. It's a lot. It has the same kind of tension I remember from old Spider-Man stories, but a lot grislier and even more creepy. But because I haven't been reading this prior, I appreciated that it was all good, and the artwork was really good. Really good, solid superhero style artwork that I enjoyed quite a lot. But I didn't feel emotionally invested in it. So I'm not sure. I probably won't pick up any more right now. Maybe I'll try, if I saw a whole bunch of back issues cheap sometime, pick that up, or try a trade sometime. It's obviously a very well done superhero comic. Right now it's written by Rick Remender along with another guy named Colin Bunn. And I think what they're doing is bringing Colin Bunn in to take over from Rick Remender. Rick Remender's a really good writer. Don't know. So maybe the earlier issues that are all Rick Remender might be even better. I don't know. So something to keep an eye on. And then I've heard a lot of people talk about Punisher, and I never got on the Punisher bandwagon in the past. But so many people whose other tastes in comics I enjoy, talk about the Punisher. I grabbed 2 issues. And then after I read the 2 issues, I saw another issue. So I grabbed issues 11 and 12, and then I grabbed issue 13 when I saw that. I think these might be one of those comics that comes out twice a month, so there's lots of issues out there. First issue I read, at first I didn't like because of the artwork. It had very pedestrian kind of artwork, and it seemed like it was just illustrating a script. There didn't feel like a deep collaboration between artist and writer. And what I noticed with these 3 issues of The Punisher is there's 3 different artists. Each issue has a different artist. And maybe that's what they do to pump it out so quickly. Or maybe something else is going on there. But the first issue, after I read further into it, when I say first issue, I mean issue 11, the first issue I read, the story was really good. And it kind of stood alone, even though it obviously connects to things going on in the past and the present. It was all centered around a police officer being interrogated about his experiences with the Punisher. It was a really good story. So then I really looked forward to reading issue 12. The theme today might be covers that have nothing to do with the story inside. There's nothing in this cover shows the Punisher killing someone who looks like they're dressed in military garb with a chainsaw. There's nothing in there with chainsaws or people dressed up like the military. And then this cover shows the Punisher in some kind of, I don't know, area of wasted, covered in guns, in this area of ruins or something. There's nothing like that inside. The main theme here is the Punisher's, relationship would be the wrong thing to say, but the Punisher's relationship with this woman who also is a would-be vigilante. I guess they're starting to work together, and the Punisher is trying to teach her that she can't have any feelings and she has to throw away the past. And it was pretty good, and the art is quite cool, except that it's often so dark that it's hard to tell what's going on the printed page. And it gets really bad in this fight scene that they have. The Punisher essentially beats up the woman in the rain to teach her a lesson that she should have no feelings, I guess. And I could hardly tell what was going on and who was hitting whom. Kind of reminded me of those movies where they're having a fight scene and they do a close-up so you can't tell who's hitting who. But also it was just all so obscured by the coloring and everything. So I was a little more down on the Punisher after this issue, but then I went ahead and picked up the next issue. There's something compelling about it, and it's all done kind of in the style of, men's adventure or something, or mystery novels and suspense. But there's there's little exaggerated superheroic kind of feel to it, and I liked that. The writer Greg Rucka does that very well, and the artists were doing it very well, except for when it got too obscure. So, and then the next issue, again, this cover has nothing to do with what's going on. They infiltrate a boat that's selling sort of super weapons to the highest bidder. And the art here is very good. A third artist. This one's name is Maiko Suyan. Never heard of him before. But it's excellent comic book art and a very good story of them. You know, it's like a spy story, or like a somewhere between a spy story and a crime noir kind of story, and just done picture perfect until the last page, where some secret is wordlessly revealed to us that I don't get at all. And I don't even know, I think they're blowing up the boat, but they don't even show the boat blow up. Anyway, I was a bit confused. But there's something compelling about the Punisher, and I'm going to keep getting it for a while. At least as long as it stays $2.99. And then I Vampire. A number of people have talked about how great I Vampire is. Another cover that seems to have nothing to do with the inside. So I got issue 9 and 10. Issue 10's cover, does have a little something to do with the insides of the book. But and people are right. I Vampire is really cool. The Van Helsings, who are out to get all vampires, are a really cool concept. What the Van Helsings do at the end of issue 10 is pretty amazing. Pretty mind-boggling. I didn't expect that at all. It's one of these books that I can't see where it's going and what it's about or something. I can't catch, in these two issues, I can't get the feel of it well enough. Like, maybe don't have enough sympathy for the lead character, perhaps. Something called I Vampire. I imagined it's kind of a first-person story of a vampire, but I guess that's not what's really going on here. I don't know if the original I Vampire back in the 80s or 90s was told in the first person. I assume it was. You know, it kind of evokes I Claudius, I guess, is the original I book, and then other people have imitated that. It's very cool, and it has pretty unique, cool artwork. I've already shown some. You know, there's a really cool page. There's something about the artwork that's a bit distancing, so I'll probably try another few issues of I Vampire too, I think. I maybe start running out of money. So Punisher's definite. Venom, not for now. I Vampire, probably I'll continue reading it. So, I guess that concludes my comic book thoughts for the evening. Thank you all for joining me. Those of you who've made it to the end of the video. I always wonder how many people make it to the end of the video. Probably not many. And I'll talk to you all later.